Thank you so much for coming, everybody. It's great to see you all here. If you could come a little bit more forwards, if you're at the back, that would be great, because we might be doing a little bit of some interesting things a little bit later. But yes, I did train as a professional singer, and I sang all over the UK. And I remember one performance I gave at this hall, the Liverpool Philharmonic Hall. It's a big concert hall in Liverpool. And I was singing in the rehearsal in front of a big orchestra and choir, a piece of music called Kamina Barana, if you've heard of that, and I was petrified and so nervous. And on one of the top notes, it was a very high note, a piece of music with loads of high notes, and my voice cracked. It was so embarrassing. And so when it came to the evening performance, as you can imagine, I was petrified. My voice was going to crack again. I was thinking, why did I say yes to this? I could have been at home watching Netflix, except Netflix wasn't around in those days. But I went in, and I was able to channel that adrenaline that was pumping through my veins into what was my best performance. It was one of the best performances that I'd ever given. Now, the following week, I did another concert somewhere else, and I was totally apathetic. And I came and did the performance, and it was one of the worst performances of my life. So I'm going to come back to that, but I wonder whether some of us, when it comes to video or live video, suffer from this feeling like an idiot syndrome. Who's done video here and feels a little bit like an idiot sometimes? Okay, that's encouraging. It's not just me. That's good. But it's not just that. There are lots of things stopping us from creating video, and particularly live video. And I asked my audience and clients across the world to come up with what's the main barrier for them when it comes to creating live video content. And you'll probably empathize with a lot of these. It's getting started, consistency, there's a big confidence there, there's some technology, how to do it on a regular basis as well, the equipment, that type of thing. But I wanted to subdivide this down into what I call the video syndromes. And I wonder whether you suffer from some of these. So who's an introvert? Who would classify themselves as an introvert here? Okay, a few of you. I'm an introvert, and I think sometimes we can use that as an excuse not to do video. Or maybe it's that you compare yourself to other people. There are other people out there that are doing video so much better than I will be able to do. Or maybe it's that feeling like an idiot syndrome, or you don't like the way you look, or it's that dreaded imposter syndrome. Who suffers from imposter syndrome? I think a lot of us do. Or it could be that technology excuse syndrome. I see this a lot. I ask my clients and audiences around the world, what is stopping them? And they say, oh, well, I don't have the right equipment. I haven't got the right tech. And this happened to me. I didn't go live for a whole month because I was worried about my camera and my background. I dug a little bit deeper, and I realized that actually that was just an excuse. I was just nervous about going live, and I was coming up with all these excuses to basically stop myself from actually doing it. So don't let that happen to you. And then I'm going to talk about this a lot in today's talk, and that's perfectionism syndrome. We're wanting to be so perfect that we never actually get the content created. And this isn't just with video, this is content generally. I'm going to talk about ways of counteracting that, but also why live video is such a powerful antidote to perfectionism syndrome. So there are three main challenges, and don't worry, I will get onto the positives and how you can break down these barriers very soon. The first one is the live video gear, the technology. What do you need to go live? The second one is the live video fear, how you get in front of the camera and be confident. I'm going to talk about that a lot. And I struggled for quite a while to get the third one to rhyme, and then somebody came up with this. Live video content marketing sphere. Think that's okay? Will that do? So it's how you promote your content, how you get it out to your audience. But let's talk about some real life examples. Why live video? I mean, all of you who've come here today, I assume you're interested in live video. You think it's a good fit but why should you consider live video? Here are some, an example. I actually met Jenny Hamley a couple of months ago at a conference in the UK, but she's got such an inspiring story. She was really struggling with her business. She creates very posh handbags, really, very quite expensive handbags, and she was struggling to sell them, and she decided really in a fit of despair to try Facebook Live, to try live video. And she came up with the idea of doing 8 live shows over 7 days. Who thinks that's a bit mad? I think that's a bit mad. But she was desperate. So she did this, and her goal was to make £1,000 of sales in each show. And in the end, so if I can convert that to dollars, she sold over $15,000 in 8 shows. She was really scared, but she did it, and she did it incredibly well. There were loads of those kind of stories where she got in front of the camera, her audience saw her. It was an authentic and raw interaction. Some stats from my friends at BuzzSumo. So when it comes to sharing on social media, if you compare just regular video and images, Facebook Live videos get so many more interactions. That's comments and likes and shares compared to other types of content out there. And my friends at Agora Pulse came up with some data. They did a lot of research into this, and they found that live videos get 75% more shares than regular uploaded video. Who wants more shares? Okay, I think we all want more shares. And a friend of mine did an experiment, and they found that they did a whole week of regular uploaded video on Facebook, and then compared that with the following week when she did live videos. She got 3 times more engagement for the kind of content that she was producing. So let's talk about the tech. What do you need? Do you feel like this? Do you want to chuck your tech out of the window because it's not working? That sometimes happens to me. I feel like doing that. But the thing is, you only need a few things to go live. It's actually very, very easy. You only need 2 things. The first thing is your device. I know this sounds really simple, but we can overcomplicate things. So that's either your smartphone or your computer. Keep things simple and start on your smartphone first. And the second thing that you need is decent internet, fast internet, particularly your upload speed. This is really important. I see a lot of people that are going live without checking their speed, and then what tends to happen is your video cuts out and nobody can hit what you're talking about because the internet's just not good enough. So check your upload speed. From a technical point of view, you need at least, I say, 4 megabits per second upload, and ideally 10 megabits per second to get a really good experience. And I always recommend, this is a tool for you, to download this to your iOS or Android phone or your Mac or PC. It's an app called speedtest.net. So I highly recommend this. Before you broadcast live, just check your speed and check where your upload speed is. If you've got any problems, you can always go somewhere else or change connection. So what is the advantage in the different platforms? If you go live on a mobile device or a desktop, there are loads of different pros and cons with these. So the great thing about going live on your smartphone is that it's a more raw and authentic feel. I think audiences are getting turned off by over-professional, slick marketing videos. So there's a real hunger sometimes for raw and authentic footage, which you can do on your smartphone. It's obviously easier to set up as well, because we've all got smartphones. They're ready to go in a way. They're great for spontaneous live, so if you're out and about, want to share your thoughts, and they're obviously great for outdoors as well. Now, some downsides if you're going live from your phone, bringing in guests remotely is a lot more difficult, so it's not always recommended for that. You can't schedule your live videos as well, so for the likes of Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube, it's not possible to do that. And you can't share your screen, so if you're wanting to do a how-to video, you can't do that from a mobile device. So that brings you on to doing it from your computer. It's a more professional setup. You can use multiple webcams, your professional kit. One thing that I think is really important, which I'm going to talk about later, which is so important for content creators, is that you can save and then repurpose your live videos for later. You can then turn that into your podcasts or your blog posts, that kind of thing. So using software, you can save a high-quality format for later. Interviewing guests remotely becomes a possibility. You can share your screen. You can add videos and graphics. You can, for example, add a little trailer at the beginning. And you can schedule your live videos as well for later to increase the promotion possibilities for you. But don't make things too difficult for you. Keep things simple right from the start. I'm a big believer in bootstrapping your live video studio. If you know that live video is absolutely what you should be investing in, you know that you're going to be confident with it, that it's going to work really well for you, then by all means spend $10,000, $20,000 on your live video studio. But for the rest of us, start simply, and over time, you can add extra kits as your confidence increases. And that's certainly what I've done. I just started with a very simple webcam on my computer. I started on my smartphone first, and then I added lights later, and I've created my studio over time. So if you want to take if you're interested in going live from your smartphone, by all means, take a photo of this. And of course, if you're sharing on Twitter, then you've got my Twitter handle on there. Feel free to tag me into those things. So the first thing I would say on your smartphone to enhance is the audio. Audio matters so much more than the video quality. If people can't hear you, they're going to switch off. So something like the Rode SmartLav Plus microphone is a great investment. There are alternatives out there, and just a lapel mic like what I'm wearing today, and that will really enhance your quality. The second thing I would say is the stability of your video. So maybe think about getting a smartphone tripod mount like the one I've got there. You just pop that on top of your tripod, and you're away. Loads of other things you could do there. Now, if you're going live from your computer, I think it's the same thing. Audio matters first. So don't just rely on your laptop's inbuilt microphone. I see this so often, and the quality is so poor. So something like at the bottom, we've got the Samsung Q2U microphone. Is a relatively inexpensive microphone. It's really good quality. I always recommend that. Or if you're wanting something that looks quite nice, there's also the Blue Yeti microphone too. And I would also get a webcam, such as the Logitech C930, or if you can justify the cost, the Brio, Logitech Brio are great. There are always things you can do to enhance. You can get digital SLRs and do all those kind of fancy things too. And if you're interested in the technology a little bit more, come and find me afterwards. I'll be more than happy to go into more detail with you. If you're going live from your computer, you also need to get a dedicated live streaming tool that will help you broadcast to whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, or your own website. And all these different tools have pros and cons. The simplest ones to use are BeLive.tv. Who's heard of BeLive? So a few of you. So BeLive just runs through the web. You just go on your browser. It broadcasts to Facebook, Twitch, and they are also releasing a new version that will allow you to go to YouTube too as well. And there's a fairly new tool alternative that is called StreamYard.com, which I really like. The big advantage with this is that it allows you to share your screen on the free version of this. So do check those out. They're very simple tools just to get started. You don't need to be overly technical to use these. They're great. The one I really like, and the one I use on a regular basis, is Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live is a dedicated app that runs on your computer. It is only for Mac users, unfortunately, but it's relatively inexpensive, easy to use, yet powerful. It allows you to share your screen, use multiple webcams, and really importantly, it actually allows you to save a high-quality version to your computer, so you can then re-upload that or repurpose to other platforms for later, which is really, really good and something I use all the time. But let's talk about the problems from a confidence point of view. We've talked about the tech. Let's look now at creating that content. And I think a lot of us, including myself, suffer from this. Perfectionism syndrome. It's a real problem in creating content. So I've come up with this extremely accurate chart, which I'm sure will resonate with many of you. And it's all to do with creating live video content or video content in general. The fact of the matter is the first few videos that you create, if you're in front of the camera, you are going to, the fear factor is going to be at its maximum. You're going to be scared if you're like most people. Also, the quality of the videos isn't going to be that great. So the first few videos that you create probably won't be great. Just do a search for Gary Vaynerchuk's first ever video on YouTube, and you'll see what I mean. His first ever few videos weren't that great, but over time, obviously, he's done quite well now, hasn't he? So over time, create more and more videos. The confidence will go up. Occasionally, you'll have blips, but keep creating that content. Learn from your mistakes and learn from the positive experiences too. But with video, with live video in particular, I want you to think about embracing the wrong, because it's not about being perfect. Don't try to be perfect. Try and be you. Try to be more authentic, or try and communicate your brand's authenticity. So here are some examples of things that have gone wrong where it's made quite a positive influence on the channel. So a friend of mine, Janet Murray, who is a speaker and an entrepreneur, she forgot to switch off her live broadcast at the end of her broadcast, and she ended up, this is a very British thing, by the way, she ended up eating a crisp sandwich, that's a potato chip sandwich, live on air, and her audience were wondering what she was doing. Or maybe, as happened to a client of mine, you've got this amazing background that you put up on the wall, and halfway through the live, it falls down on top of you. Or maybe your cleaner comes in and starts emptying the trash. Who knows that? Who's seen this? Okay, so your kids come in the room and start doing a little dance around the room. And this has almost happened to me. But it didn't do this guy too much trouble, really. He became an overnight celebrity. And it showed that he is actually a real human being. This is a North Korean expert. I love this quote from Philip Kotler, who says that marketers need to adapt to this new reality, create brands that behave like humans, approachable and likable, but also vulnerable. Brands should become less intimidating. They should become authentic and honest, admit their flaws, and stop trying to seem perfect. And I believe that live video allows you to be more like that. You can't make a live video perfect because you can't edit it. So it's really, really good from that point of view. So let's talk about what we should be doing. Some tips on how to gain a little bit more confidence and be more consistent with video. Practice with Instagram stories. These are not live, but this allows you to get in front of the camera regularly and practice getting your face in front of the camera. And what's the worst that's going to happen? Because they disappear after 24 hours. So that's a great way of practicing. Or you could create a Facebook private group and go live in that. Or my personal favorite way is just to go on your Facebook profile, change the privacy settings to only me, and go live. No one will see you except for yourself afterwards. It's a great way to practice. But when you do that, I want you to do one thing for me. I want you to create a journal. And after every piece of content that you create, I want you to write down 3 things that you did really well, 3 things that you need to improve, and the important thing is to treat you like your clients. I think often we criticize ourselves so much. If we were to criticize our clients the way we criticize ourselves, we would be sacked in no time. So don't do that. Be constructive with your comments, and I promise you, you will improve over time. The first live videos that I did, the technology went wrong. I stuttered over my words. I didn't know what I was doing, but over time, I've gained that confidence through learning from my mistakes.